Welcome to my Pleasantview once again for the thousandth time, hopefully the last time. But yeah, welcome back. My name is Felric. I've been playing The Sims since I was 6 years old, and I have been redoing Pleasantview a thousand times, as I'm sure many of you have as well. And I think I have cracked the reason why we constantly start neighborhoods over and over and over again, especially Pleasantview, and then we never play them. I don't know if I cracked the reason, but I'm trying to mitigate the reasons why we do that. I realized that custom content, even though it's great, and before doing this save, I have actually default replaced every single piece of item, clothing, hair, whatever in The Sims 2. Literally everything I replaced. And I spent weeks replacing everything and choosing everything that I thought could fit nicer or was prettier. And look, we all like CC shopping. It can be fun. But then are we actually playing the game? No. Like, and that's what most of the fun actually is, creating the storylines and everything. Um, so this neighborhood has zero CC. There's no CC in it. And I don't want to talk about other people's builds because everyone has different tastes and everything. But I try to make it as realistic and architecturally realistic and aesthetically pleasing as possible, while at the same time making it very grunge, because many buildings in towns and cities are very grungy when you actually think about it. So yes, and and me personally, it's just not to my taste how colorful and vivid some people's lots and reshades are. I hate it. It's just not pretty. It just burns my eyes. So this is very toned down without being all grey, if that makes sense. You will see when we get there. The other thing is that I realized that when I'm redoing Pleasantview, I'm moving all the lots around to make them fit in a place I think fits better. Um, but then when you start doing that, and then you start actually revamping the lots and changing the decoration and stuff, you lose Pleasantview. It just doesn't resemble Pleasantview anymore. And I think that that lack of connection to the original hood is what also makes it feel less authentic and forces you to want to do it again because it's just not right. There's something wrong with it. So what I done with these is I have actually kept all the lots where they are and I have added more around them. And I'll show you in a minute after I finish this. Another thing is I really like how people like Annie Bats, an icon, play The Sims 2, how she does active careers and an integrated neighborhood. So I have added all the lots that you will probably need for an integrated neighborhood, like high school, elementary school, hospital, church, police station, etc. Um, and I also really like the storytelling of people like this YouTuber called Big Mouth, which please, if someone knows if they are live, please tell them to finish the story because it's one of my favorite stories and movies or series or however you wanna call it. Machinimas, is that how people pronounce it? Machinimas. Anyway, I love it. I love it. And they disappeared, in, and it's been like 2 years, and I just need them to come back. Um, I will tag them in the video so you can go and watch the masterpiece that is that Pleasantview series. Um, but yeah, I feel like at the same time having 0cc will make it easier for me to upload these finally. Oh wait, can you see that flying pig in the background? I hate it. It's my biggest pet peeve, and I searched for a mod to erase it and I couldn't find any. So if anyone knows one, please tell me because I hate it with a passion. Just it makes no sense. Anyway, um, I read in the comments of some video that is a reference to Pink Floyd, and I'm like, do I give a fuck? Anyway, it just fucks my aesthetic, so we don't talk about that. Just ignore the flying pig in the background. Um, but yeah, in my previous videos, people always were asking me, oh, can you upload this so we can download it? But there was so much CC, and I didn't know how to, so I was like, I want to, but it's just too much to it. So now, because it's literally 0 CC, I'm sure it will be easier. I might have to see, because I try to take as many mods as possible, but I have to see how to upload it in a way that doesn't take these mods with the download, so it might not corrupt, so it won't corrupt your neighborhood. So we'll see. We'll see. I'll have to check for a guide or whatever. But it's all finished anyway, so it's not like you can download it now. But I just wanted to show you everything I done. So, as you can see, I have merged Blue Water Village and Pleasantview into one, and I tell you why. Because I feel like if back in the day when The Sims 2 came out, I should have actually kept it in that little frame. It was pretty. Anyway, um, we can view the neighborhood while I talk. Um, I feel like if back in the day when Open for Business came out, there was a way to update the neighborhood without having to actually delete your saves or delete your families and just update it while your save was running, like how the Sims 4 do it, they would have probably just added more lots to Pleasantview as if like Pleasantview was being built up. So I thought, let's do that. So I merged Blue Water Village with Pleasantview. Here you have Malcolm Landgraf, the Jaquettes, the La Rosa, the Ramirez, the Tinkers, and yeah, think those are all. Anyway, um, and they just fit. And something I also done is added like the community lots from that. You have Club Dante, the restaurant, all of these ones. We have the arcade, the Ramirez shop. We have here the bakery from the Jaquettes. And yeah. And then another thing I have done is, all of these lots that are in the lot bin from the base game, I felt like they actually should have been placed into Pleasantview because Pleasantview is very empty when you think about it. So I placed them. You have them here, all around. I also added this one because, it's literally for Pleasantview and it has a perfect space for it there. This one, I added them here, but then I transformed them into apartments because they match these. But this is gonna change at some point, obviously, when I revamp it, without making Pleasantview look different. It's just gonna match a bit more these. But anyway, and then I also added all the townies, as I always do, and as the queen herself, Annie Bats, had shown us. But then I do my own sort of like family settings. For example, the Dillards are here, the Sims are here. I have added the Blue Water Village townie as their butler because she's the mayor of Pleasantview. He might or might not be secretly dating the butler. We'll see that later on. Because I haven't touched the families. This is the thing. What I'm gonna show you in this video is the lots around it that I have built. The families, I haven't even gone inside. There's nothing decorated inside. I haven't changed their looks, nothing at all. So yeah, but I wanted to show you what I have actually built. So actually let's get on to that because it's been 9 minutes of me fucking talking. We have Pleasant Rest Church, and in all of them I added like sort of like all the active careers I need. But we have the church with the graveyard over there. Just need to move all the graves over there. We have the health center. We have, I give them the names. Mataplin, I think it's the last name of Darlene Dreamer's parents. If I'm correct, it's someone in The Sims, and I need to double check. I just can't remember. But yeah, that's the elementary school, and I did like a fake football field in the back. And then over here we have the high school, Danvers High School, which is the last name of Daniel's mom's parents. Because the Pleasance and Pleasantview is kind of like they built the town, so it makes sense. And I was gonna put the football field behind the high school and then the baseball behind the elementary school. But then I thought, actually, all of the workout clothes for children are literally just football kits, so it makes sense that they are more football focused. Not that I am, but who cares? Um, and then we have BVPD, which is the Pleasant View Police Department. I made a mall, which it took ages, but I'm quite proud of it. We have a diner, and then we have Belladonna Cinema, and a little playground that helps connect sort of like this city area with like this area. Oh, and I also built a pink flamingo dive bar, which I cannot wait to show you in a minute. And the all water treatment plant, which is the place where the criminal career is gonna hang out. And I think that's all that I built. But what I want to show you, and what I want for you to keep in mind is, these lots, well, not these lots, what the fuck am I saying? These pictures with like the Pleasants getting married and their hospital, and then it's another one, this one. The backgrounds feel like they would have been in Pleasantview. Obviously, probably not, in whatever towns they were before when they were younger. But I like to think that it was Pleasantview. So, what I done is, you can go back to the video, whatever that part is, and check that if we go to the church first, I have recreated those spaces into my builds, in my community builds. So here we have the church. Here's where all the graves and the little park's gonna go. I'm just very proud of it because it's all base game. Something I did use is, I know it looks like custom content, but it's not. It's this tree from base game, but if you press shift up, wait, if you have the mod that allows you to shift up and down everything, and then you shift up trees, they go like that. And now you have bushes because there's literally 0 bushes in The Sims, and that's another pet peeve of mine because I really need bushes. I love plants, and yeah. So now you have that, and you can do it with all the trees. See? If you need more. And for the pine trees as well, a very cool thing, it just allows you to make smaller pine trees. But yeah, anyway, so you get in through here. There's not much here because I feel like we also overcrowd lots in The Sims. I'm one of the biggest sinners with that. I'm such a maximalist. But you can still be maximalistic without like overdoing it. I like to create rugs, like Persian rugs, and do different designs. I just really enjoy it. So here is the priest office. Here we have a little changing room for a bride or a groom or whatever. And then, actually, let's go in like this. So here we have the entrance of the church. I might need to fix that things. Don't look, don't look! But yeah, if we go over here, you can see that this is exactly the same space in which Daniel and Marisu got married. And I'm just very proud of that. But anyway, so let's look at it the normal way. Here we have the place to sit down, a little podium for the priest, the piano / organ, and then a place for holy water, and the bathrooms. Yeah, it's the most simple build, but also it's the one that looks the prettiest. This is the first one I done in the whole neighborhood, and I was so proud of it because it's just simple yet nice. It just feels real. It feels like it fits in Pleasantview, and it just made me happy. But yeah, anyway, let's move on. This is gonna be a lot of me talking, as all my videos are, so I hope that you enjoy it. Let's move on to the health center. I couldn't think of a name for it, so I just put a normal name. So here we have it. Let's go up. So for this one, you would actually, this is really bothering me. It should be like this actually. There we go. Anyway, so here you have it. It's very simple. Actually, I have put letters here and they didn't appear. Wonder why. Anyway, it's very easily fixed. I'll show you a little trick I have. So for me, that spells Pleasantview. Don't ask me why. It just spells Pleasantview. And this is an H for health. And this is a C for center. So it's the Pleasantview Health Center. Let's give it a space in between. So there we go. So this is Pleasantview Health Center. Now it makes sense. So here we have a side entrance for the A&E, which I need to put a sign on top as well. Anyway, this is the things. I like making these videos because I realize all of my mistakes. But anyway, and I need to create the bus stops, which are gonna be over here. But yeah, we can do that quickly, because you get to see how I make the bus stops. And then you go like this, and then you add this one that's base game, and then you put two of these just for the ceiling, and then you frame it, and then you go like this, and then you put the chairs, which, what was it I was using? Is it this? No. Oh, I can't remember what I used. No, it wasn't this. Maybe it was that. Let's just do the bench. Here you go. And now you have a bus stop, which in my opinion makes sense. And it hides this awful monstrosity of a telephone. But anyway, so if we actually look at the lot, for fuck's sake, so at the very, let's go to the reception. You come in, you have a very chill reception, nothing crazy with it. You have the waiting area and another waiting area. Why is that like that? Very strange, never seen that happening before. Anyway, so waiting area. Then over here you have A&E. So if your team has like an accident, like an electrocution or a fire, or like any of those sorts, they will come here. And there's a lot of make-believe, because obviously it's very empty, but that's how I want it to be, you know? I really try to keep it only base game. And I think I succeeded in that. Actually, I think this lot is actually only base game, except this one painting I just put there. But yeah, over here we have sort of like the employees, nurses station office that you can access through the A&E. And then these are the bathrooms for the employees. They have like showers, and here are the toilets, and like sort of like a changing room area. But I'm gonna change it because I did this lot when I thought I was gonna do the whole thing only base game, and then I gave up halfway through. And most things are mostly base game, but not fully base game. So yes. Anyway, and then on the other side of the lot, we have the cafeteria, and this is supposed to represent the menu, I guess. Um, but yeah, it's a very simple little place, and a place for you to reheat your food for like the doctors and stuff as well if they don't want to eat there. And the toilets for everyone else. And then if you go downstairs from here, you have access to the laboratory in which doctors get their medications and stuff, and the scientists can work on their stuff. I assume here's where like Cassandra would work, which would also show a place in which you could have also met Dawn or interacted more with Dawn. And then if we go upstairs, we have the waiting room for the actual doctor's offices. We have here Dawn's, what the fuck is that? We have here Dawn's actual office, because he's a physiotherapist in my brain. Here's the like the bed that you have in doctor's offices, and he can test your running and stuff. And then over here we have sort of like the psychologist's room, so that's where the psychologist will sit, and he can do like couples counseling or like one-to-one and what's not. And yeah, and that's where they wait. And then over here we have the nursery, where like newborns will stay for like one day while they're being checked and everything. And then on the other side we have where like new moms will stay. Like I like to think that for at least 2 days or one day of the Sim being an infant, it will stay in the hospital with the mom. So then it will make this lot way more active, because we will have like moms to look after and babies and stuff. And here we have the Sims who are being prepared for surgeries or aftercare or what's not, where they will sleep. And here we have more toilets for the waiting room, and here is the office of the chief of staff. But yeah, that's the lot. It's a very simple lot, it's nothing crazy to it, but that's how I wanted it. Because this took me maybe an hour and a half to build, where before if I wanted to do a proper hospital like the ones I did before, it was 1,000 years, and it always felt a bit off. I don't know why. Here we go to Mataplin Elementary School. Something to keep in mind, you know how Woodland Park has this sort of like side river that comes out of the lake? It always bothered me, because why? Why does the river just go into nothing? So I made it go into the elementary school, and you will see now. So it goes into here, into like a little sort of like river thing that becomes. This should have been like this, please. My Sims are trying to make me look bad, but I swear I did finish that. The river here goes into just this canal, let's say. But here we have the elementary school. Here's where you will drop your kids, or the bus will drop the kids, the yellow bus. Here we have the telephone. I always try to hide it in some realistic way. So when we go in, we have this, which is actually, I cannot access the pictures, I'll show you later. But there's a school picture. I know it's from Strange Town, but I thought I still want to recreate it, so I did it that way. And I thought it looked pretty. But yeah, it has like, I'm sure you know, there's a picture of a school with like green fridges as if they were lockers, and I actually added lockers, which I guess it makes it not base game. But yeah, But most of things are base game. But anyway, so here's the hallway for the kids. Then if they go this way, they have the cafeteria, where like the cook will give them food and stuff. Over here we have the reception. Here is if any kid has misbehaved or they have to speak with the headmaster, they will wait here. And then they will go this way. And over here we have the teacher's bathroom. And here we have the teacher's lounge for them to like chill or do whatever they want to do. And actually I take that back. It's not if they misbehave, because if they misbehave, well, actually I guess they could wait here and then go over here, because here is where the headmaster's office is. It's a very simple place, but I like it. Things don't need to be overly complicated and overly exaggerated. This could still be like, if, let's say, if we sit here to do like a story, like a picture for storytelling, and you show me the headmaster here and like a parent and a child, I will assume it's the headmaster's office, and that's all I need. It looks pretty. Then the bathrooms, there's no mirrors, because in my school when I was growing up, we didn't have mirrors in the bathrooms because apparently it was too distracting to look at yourself. Anyway, and for the classrooms, we have this one. Of course, my usual trick of the turned back painting with that, and yeah, and some fishes for the class. And over here we have the painting room, like the arts and craft room, and then Sims can paint this, which I think will look pretty. And then every time we come to class, we could create a different design. And I did posters on the side and stuff like different art projects. I cannot even pronounce it. Sorry. I might change these because I think this will be prettier. There we go. Now they have a hamster for the class. I might add a bit more decorations around it, but yeah, let's do that later, another day, another time. But yeah, this is the outside. And I know you're gonna say like, oh, why didn't you add all of these things and stuff? Because I felt like my school didn't have that. When I had it when I was in kindergarten, but I didn't have it when I was in primary school. So I felt like kids can just play in the grass, and play with each other and interact. But yeah, let's see what we have next. There's something I do need your help with, actually. I don't know what the fuck to put here. I've been really thinking a lot what would fit here. I just can't. There has to be something that fits sort of like the more rich area of the neighborhood. It has to be something that would be behind the Goth Manor and also behind the mayor's house. So I thought, oh, I could do like a park, but we already have a park, and I don't need another park. So I don't know. I'm very, very confused. I thought maybe a botanic garden, but I don't know. I need your help. Please give me ideas of what could go here. Let's see the police station, which I'm actually very proud of. And I thought the name was very funny, PVPD. It was very enjoyable to build this lot. So here we have the police station. Let's do a 360. That's a shooting range I created. Oh, I need to move this closer, I didn't realize. But good to know. So Sims will come up here and go this way. Here's where the telephone is as well. The pine trees that I showed you before, they just look prettier that way. So when you go in, see, I really like how realistic and messy it looks, even though it barely has any items inside. Here's the reception. This is one of my new proudest inventions. This is the dishwasher and that fancy laptop that looks like a printer. I feel like that, it's just a printer, so I'm very proud of that. And here's where the police officers would work, the receptionist. Over here we have sort of like an office in which they can work on cases, probably the Bella Goff case or other cases, like all the criminals in Pleasantview. There's like at least like 5. Here we have the police chief office. He has a gun there, obviously. Over here we have the bathrooms. Nothing crazy about them, just normal bathrooms. Over here we have a place to take pictures of criminals, which I think is very cool for like mugshots. Cannot wait to take a couple of mugshots, probably if Dustin broke. Here we have a place for the criminals to, like an interrogatory, and there they can record it and what's not. Lie detector test, a polygrapher, yes. This is another one of my inventions. This is what's supposed to be like a water fountain, you know, with the tanks in offices, but it's just this night table and a sink, and it's actually functional because Sims can actually, obviously, they will glitch into the night table, but you know, it's make you leave. That's what the Sims are, and I feel like we forget sometimes that there's so many mods and there's so many custom content that we forget to just make believe these things, and that makes it fun as well. And also functional, because The Sims 2 is very, very moody when it comes to like programming and stuff, and everything makes it crash. So that the least mods and custom contents I can have, the better. And here we have sort of like the jail, you know? That's the toilet sink combination. And yeah. And then if we go outside, here we have a basketball court for the police to work out. Here we have a small gym. I really like piling up chairs to make them seem like they're piled up. This is not functional. It's supposed to resemble sort of like a weight rack, and I thought it looked pretty, so I kept it that way. But it's not functional. Only these things are functional. And then we have the shooting range. And let's do objects to grid false. And let's fix this because it will bug me forever, and then I will forget. And there we go. And now it's a shooting range. And I thought that was very cool. And that's, and again, that's a painting turn the other way around, and a clock turn the other way around. And I guess if I put the Sim in and I lock these, they will just go that way. I don't know. We'll see. Might be functioning, might be not, but it looks pretty anyway, even as decoration. But yeah, let's move on to let's see the elementary high school. What the fuck is that? Let's see the high school, and then let's go to the shopping district, I guess. This one I'm very proud of the architecture because I try to push myself to make builds that are not just a square box. And it is hard because in The Sims 2 the building tools are not the best. But I think I did quite okay on this one. So here we have the high school. Let's do a little 360. There's nothing on the back, obviously. One of my issues with this one is that I didn't have enough space to make sort of like a backyard for my Sims to play or whatever, but they're teenagers, so, you know, they can do other things, which you'll see in a minute. So you get in. I really like mixing different floors and stuff. This is something that I really need to fix before. Anyway, so there we go. This is the entrance in the hallway. There's more lockers upstairs. Here we have the auditorium, where Sims can perform, or when they graduate from high school, they get here to get their diplomas. They will get up here, and then they can either come out this way. But if they're performing for like a play, because we have like a drama club, in here, here's where they can change in like the backstage situation. And then if we go over here, we have the reception for the teachers with the printer, obviously, the water fountain, and for them to wait if they have misbehaved. Here we have the teachers lounge, which I kind of copy. I don't know if you've seen the TV show about Elementary. I just copied their teachers lounge, or I used it as inspiration, as my muse, you could say. But yeah. And then over here we have the teacher's toilet. And then here we have the headmaster's office for the high school. And here we have the toilets for the teenagers. And then if we go the other way, here we have the cafeteria, which again, I feel like most of my cafeterias, every time I have made a high school in The Sims 2, is based on the TV show DOA, because I love that cafeteria. So that's what it's inspired on. So Sims can sit here, and there's space for every single teenager based on the desks upstairs in the classrooms, and space for every teacher as well, if they wanted to sit here. And here we have the kitchen, and they can drop all the plate foods here. And then if we go upstairs, I also like how I did these carpets and the carpet in the classrooms. Here we have the counselor's office. I can see people like Lilith Pleasant being here a lot. Maybe she can create some sort of like friendship with the counselor, we'll see. Then if we go, let's see the most normal classroom. Here we have the classroom for the teenagers, a TVE in case the teacher feels lazy and wants to just play a movie. Posters, but yeah. And then if we go this way, we have the computer study classroom, and they can do like robotics and stuff, which I think is very cool. And then if we go over here, we have there's a name in Japanese for it, I just can't remember, but in so many animes they have like different classrooms with like that are empty and therefore clubs. So this is like a recreational, like a spare functional, I think it's functional classroom, where like depending on whatever club was gonna be, they have all the things they need, like a gaming club or a photography club or a dancing club, whatever, they can use this room. And then over here, also, if when we're gonna take the graduation pictures, they can use this room, and then we can move everything around and put like a chair there and like a backdrop, and then take the pictures there. Here we have the music rooms of like the Glee club, you could say. And what I like about this room is that I have made them like a inventory closet with more instruments and stuff. But then my Sims can come here and like make out and stuff. If they are having affairs, or they're gay or whatever, they can go here, which would be cool. They're kind of like, or even if they just want to skip class and they want to hide while they make out and stuff, they can do it here, which I think is very cool. But yeah, but that's the high school. There's not much to it. And here we have again, sort of like the bus stop area. I think there are many spaces for my Sims to hang out, like the hallways and the classes and the classroom and the cafeteria and the auditorium. So like, I didn't feel like I needed a back area, like a outdoor area. Plus, they have this as well if they want to like hang out outside. I need to build them a little sign there. I keep forgetting about doing the signs. It's my fault, but yeah. But again, this is what these videos are good for, because they show me all the things I missed. Most of the things I missed are normally the ceilings, because I just always forget to do the ceilings. I always forget to add radiators and fans, but then I'm gonna use, when I actually play in my own time, I'm gonna use the temperature mode, and that comes with like vents, so I'm just gonna put the vents because I have no time for the radiators and the fans directly, and they take too much space on the ceiling and the walls. But anyway, let's go with the cinema, and then let's end it all with the mall, because the mall is like my piece of resistance. Oh, actually no, I forgot. Let's do the pink flamingo bar, because I'm actually very proud of this one as well. Um, and I'll show you where I recreated the Brandy Broke engagement picture. So here we have the pink flamingo bar. It's more of like a dive bar because it's next to all. They're not trailers. They're kind of like caravans, and I'm gonna make them look like that at some point. But yeah, I like to make all of these posters to be like graffiti in my head. It's like, again, make believe. So here's a 360. Oh, that's not painted. This is important. You'll see that. You'll see why later. Over here, we have what's supposed to be like a sign as well. I try to connect it with different things. I like these that resemble sort of like license plates. I really like how I use these. But if you turn it around, it could be like a nice curtain, if you put it like that. That as well, just tires, these, and then if we go in, we have an arcade area. We have just more posters, the darts, and then if we actually go like this, here is the same picture where Brandy Broke got engaged, and I think it's very cute that we have the same. And then over here we have a karaoke machine, which I think is also fun. I cannot wait to bring my Sims here. I think this will be like the place where like also teenage Sims, when they go out, when they sneak out, they will try to get in here without a license, without an ID, which I think is very cool. Here we have the toilets as well, with like lots of like posters and graffitis to keep up the vibe. Here we have the sort of like the wardrobe to leave your jackets and stuff. And outside, I put this, which is a neighborhood decoration, and I put the hammock there, so Sims can actually woohoo inside the dumpster, which obviously they will glitch in and out of it, but I still think it's a cool addition. It's a cool little trick without actually needing to download anything. Because I realized I didn't have anywhere for my Sims to woohoo. In a bar, they need a place like that, so they can use that. But yeah. What else? I was about to say something and I forgot. Let's go to the water treatment plant, or the abandoned old water treatment plant, because I always hated how you have that massive water tower next to like houses without any building attached to it, so I just make it like it's an abandoned water tower actually. So let's do a 360. There's a lot of trees that I have shifted down, like that one, because I just need to look abandoned, I guess. We do a 360 of the place first, which I forgot to do for the first couple of buildings, but you didn't need it, a 360 for those ones. These, I didn't know where to put it. I might do a little bus stop there, but it will be pointless, we'll see. So you will get in through here, and then here you have the entrance to both buildings. They both have, well, I like to think these are kind of like password keypads for you to be able to unlock the doors. But if we go in, here we have the steam part of the factory, because it's abandoned, so it's all like broken up and stuff. And then you go up, and then you can either go this way, which will take you through a place where like they store all the stuff they stolen as well. You know, there's a picture in which they're actually robbing Nina's bedroom out of this specific tapestry, so it's here. Um, and here is where they can, either if they have someone kidnapped or if they have someone like someone from their own sort of like gang that they need to test if they're um, a snitch or not, they will do it there as well. If they're trying to sort of like manipulate someone into joining the criminals, they can sort of like break their spirit there, which I think could be cool. Sort of like, I know it's not fun, it's not good to say, oh, I'm playing like I'm torturing people, but then have you seen the people playing The Sims 4? Like when they take the limbs out of like Sims and then make them walk into volcanoes and stuff. I think my gameplay is quite tame. Thank you very much. And then over here we have sort of like more of like a hangout area. This is trying to be like planks covering. Oh, I need to turn them around so it doesn't look like that. Anyway, so no one can see in. Here we have a toilet for them, and here we have the, it's not an office, but like kinda of like the criminal lord, like the mastermind. Here's where they will be. But yeah, actually I forgot to add them. I want them to have that. But yeah, and then downstairs, which I think is very cool as well, over here we have a drag operation. I really wanted to include these plants because I really thought they were very fun to play with when I was little. So now we have a whole Breaking Bad situation over here. So they can grow plants and sell them and cook them, and this is sort of like the meth lab of them, how they're selling drugs and stuff. And I thought it was very fun. But yeah, let's move on. Also, they can use this, which fits into the steam room area as like a torturing place. I think that one's one of my favorite lots that I have made. Actually, it was very fun to build too. Now, I'll show the playground quickly because it's just on the way and I added it because I needed something to merge all of the town community area into like these ones. So it's literally just a very basic playground. But I thought it was fun how I did that and how I managed to use this flooring that I have never used ever in my life, but it just fits well there. Oh, another one of my creations. If you want to build a park and you need like water fountain, you use this table, which is unusable because tell me when and who has ever used this table for an actual house, and you just put it over a sink, and then it just looks like a little fountain for your park. Okay, let's move on to the cinema now. Finally, um, let's see. Belladonna Cinema. I just named it Belladonna because it just sounded very fancy. And my idea of the cinema is that it's actually um, sort of like a very old cinema, like from like Mortimer and Bella's childhood era. But it's just obviously they live in Sunset Valley, but back then. But it's supposed to be um, an old cinema. That's why you have all the letters there, like like the very old cinemas. I don't know. Pinterest showed me this type of cinemas, and I really like them. Um, there's a little park there because I didn't know what to do that will combine all of these lots. Obviously, later on I will have to do something that shows sort of like um, businesses looking this way as well, so it feels less disconnected. But yeah, so if we go in, I made a rotating fake door as well. Over here we have a place for your Sims to like take pictures as well if they're on a date or with friends. Here you can buy tickets. Here you can buy snacks. Here's a little waiting room for, not waiting room, like a waiting area for when you're waiting for your date or your friends. Same there. Here you have all the movie posters. Here you have the toilets, which again, they're very gold and white and green and black because it's supposed to resemble like that type of cinemas, like the very fancy ones. Here's the bus stop. Oh, that's the seats I use. I've forgotten. I have to add it later on to the school. Here you go up the stairs and you have the first um, cinema room. Is that how you call it? Like the screen room? I don't know. Uh, you go in, you have the exit signs, which I thought it was very cool because I never used those ones either. Um, and there we go. I know that. Oh, sorry. That's a very small TV, and I debated very hard into downloading a massive screen. But then, let's be honest. Oh, that almost gave me a stroke. That was too fast. Sorry. Um, when like the resolution of movies and TV shows in The Sims 2 in the TVs is very very low. So, and I even downloaded something to make it look better, and it was still like very low resolution. So if I even use a bigger screen, you would barely see it. So I kept it like this. It still looks quite dark around. Like if you go this way, and let's say once I turn off all the lights before a movie starts, um, it would actually work, I think. Even if you sit there or if you sit here, it just works. But then what I will do, what I'm gonna do is there's another room upstairs, literally exactly the same. But different rooms are gonna be playing different type of movies. Like over here we're gonna have the nice like pop culture movies, and upstairs we're gonna have the serious or horror movies. And I think it's very cool because then every 2 weeks we can have a different movie presenting, and I think that's fun. And this is just an empty room. There's nothing there. You cannot even access it. Because there's something I really like about The Sims 3 is how they use all of the I don't know, like the blackness in rooms to like make it be inaccessible. So I just try to recreate that when I don't need the space. But yeah, that's the cinema. Let's move on to the diner. The diner is the very last thing I did because I built the outside and then I just couldn't be asked building the inside. But I think I did okay because it just looks like a diner in the US. I think that sometimes we forget when we build stuff in The Sims, me included, all the time, that The Sims, well, originally they were based in like a very pop culture idea of what American culture was and like the old 50s America's dream. So I just tried to use that decoration or that architectural style when I make things in Pleasantview, because Pleasantview slash Blue Water Village um, is based on like an American suburb. When we add Strange Town, that's gonna change. But we'll get there when we get there. Here we have the telephone, the parking lot that merges into all of these parking lots from these two lots that are already in Pleasantview, which I really like because if you are from the US or have been to the US, you can see that they love parking lots and that all of their sort of like community lots, you could say, or their businesses are all connected by a massive parking lot. So I feel like connecting it this way was a good idea. Here we have the diner. That's the sign of the diner. These are all just the H&M sign copy over and over and over and over. And that's supposed to spell diner. Let's do a little 360. There's nothing behind, it's just the alleyway that looks into the cinema. So if we go in, you can either go in this way or this way. And I noticed that restaurants and diners in the US, you normally have like two entrances, one each side for whatever reason. But anyway, here we have some sitting areas, the bar area. Here we have the place where you could buy like food as like takeout. Here we have different tables for two, the bathrooms, and the kitchen. There's nothing deeply complicated about my lots, but I think they still look very nice and realistic, and I cannot wait to have Sims come here and hang out. Um, and now we're gonna finally see them all to finish the video. And I'm very excited to show you because this mall took ages. And I still have 2 empty spaces in the mall because I didn't know what else to add. And I have to say, because we have to give credit where credit is due, that there's a guy on YouTube. I forgot how to say his name, but I will tag him on the video underneath on the description. And he makes um, builds in The Sims 2 with literally no custom content. He doesn't even use move objects on, but and they look so cool and so realistic. So he really has amazing skills, and I need to praise that because he created a mall, which is very different to this one. But on the inside, he really helped as inspiration for many of the inside businesses. But yeah, let's do a 360. So here we have the parking lot again that merges into these ones. Here we have the sign as like, because I like to think that this mall is a very old mall. It's almost abandoned, like no one ever uses it because we have downtown. But then they're trying to like rebrand themselves, and that's why you have all the banners, you could say. Here's a space to leave whatever, like your bikes. Here you have the bus stop area. It's more hidden and more covered. We need to erase this, please. And then all the trees merge into the trees from this lot, which is not gonna be a clothing store anymore because obviously we have an H&M inside here. But I might make it into a cafeteria. I don't know. We'll see. So here's the front, which I'm very proud of the how I built that, because first it was just a box. It was just a square building, and I spent so much time on Pinterest looking for like mall pictures. Whoever my FBI agent is that checks my browse search history and stuff, they're gonna be like, what the fuck are they researching on? But yeah, it's just a nice little frame to the building. So, and this spells Pleasantview Mall in my brain. Um, so here we have a massive palm tree. There's a mall near to where I grew up that has palm trees inside the mall, and I just thought it was a nice little shout out to myself. Um, I forgot to say, on the side, we also have a little Chinese restaurant called the Daisy. And if we go in, wait, let's look at it this way. Here we have the waiting area for the Daisy, and here we have the restaurant, which I think is beautiful, and it really made me excited for whenever I'm gonna redo the vacation lots. I'm gonna have such an amount of fun redoing all of that, so they actually look nice and realistic. But yeah, and I'm actually using this thing, and I believe that you can order things and then sit on these ones. I think, correct me if I'm wrong. And there's a toilet as well here, a toilet you could call. But yeah, because I think someone will take it out and bring it to you here. I don't know. I have to play test that. But yeah, going back to the actual mall, this one's one of the empty ones, and I like to pretend that it's been closed off, but it could be bought by someone else. You could change it into something else. Here we have a place where you can buy fishes. Most of these mall places are decoration. That's why they don't have a cash register. They just have like computers that are a pretend cash register, you could say. But you could buy, there's many jewelry items in The Sims 2 that are very sea theme, so I thought you could buy there. Here you have the H&M. Here's one of the sort of like decorations for the front of the H&M, basically. At the bottom you have in the ground floor, you have the male section because H&M loves to separate it that way. Where personally, I always buy my clothes in the female section because they fit better, they look cooler, the colors are better. It's just much nicer, and no one could ever guess they were from there. And even if they did, who gives a fuck? But what I'm saying is like the male section in any clothing store sucks, and I will die on that hill. Here you have the changing rooms, and upstairs, you have. I don't know why all the lights are not working. I hate when that happens. Anyway, here you have the female section, changing rooms, lots of clothes. You can buy perfumes and stuff like that. And yeah, I try very hard to add decoration because there's basically 3 mannequins in the whole Sims 2. And here you have the front of the shop. Again, I try very hard to use these three, this one, and this one, to a point that they will look different even though there's only 3 mannequins. But yeah, anyway, going back downstairs, we have the fountain. Here's like a little pop-up shop where you can buy candles and all of these sort of like arts and craft. Here you have a music store. You can buy magazines and video games and all the instruments and stuff, which I thought it was cool. And then here you have the escalators. Well, they're pretend escalators, and they go up. That's the H&M. Here you have toilets. Again, it looks like this because see, it's just the lights that like glitch out sometimes. There's nothing I can do with that. See, it's just easily fixed. Here's another one. This was gonna be like a sport shop, but then I don't know why I didn't do it. Maybe I was just lazy. But yeah, it's just closed off for now. Here you have some seating area for like if you wanna buy like some snacks and stuff, or like to hang out, or for like kids to do homework or whatever if they wanna do it outside with their friends. Here we have an adult shop. So if you are underage, please turn off the computer right now. Well, I guess you don't have to turn off the computer, but just close the video. Um, the guy from the YouTube video that I told you about that made them all, he made one of these, and I thought it was so fun and so clever. And I can see Daniel Pleasant going here, like sort of like incognito, and I thought it was very fun. But yeah, here's the adult shop. And I'm surprised how many objects in The Sims 2 are very phallic, if that makes sense. For like, you know, pretend, I guess. But yeah, we're not gonna go into details. Here's the shop. Over here we have what I like to think it's like a hot topic. Because I thought, well, Lilith Pleasant needs a place to buy her clothes, doesn't she? So here we have it. Which the guy from the video I told you also made this one. Obviously I gave it my own twist, but the idea was his, so I have to say it because it was very clever. And then over here we have a little place to buy perfumes, and if you want to get a massage, because I feel like in many malls, for some reason you can get massages and pedicures and stuff like that. So I thought, why not? So you could do it there. And then over here we have a place to buy your cell phones, because I realized there was no place to buy cell phones in The Sims. So it's kind of like an iPhone store. You can buy computers and like smart glasses, which these are an aspiration reward, but this is supposed to be a massive watch, but it's just the thing from the airplane. Oh, why did you go down? Come back up. There you go. But yeah, and I remember when iPhone used to have all of these posters of like people dancing and using iPods and stuff, so that's why that one's there. And yeah, you can buy different phones and stuff. But yeah, that's literally them all. And I think that's it. That's everything I have done. I'm gonna have a quick check again when we load into the neighborhood. But I genuinely think that that's it. Um, what I wanted to say last is that now, oh no, I forgot. I was gonna show you this because I think it's very important for for you guys to see. Um, the apartments. These apartments actually, well, first of all, they went through different stages. Um, Initially, they were this lot, and they were here. You had three there and there and there. Let me find a space for you to see. It was this lot. Then it transformed into three of the same. And I was like, oh, they actually kind of look cool because they match the vibe of these. But then they didn't match being near such a townified area, you could say, like a community law center area, and the caravans. I was like, they don't really fit. They look too fancy for where they are, right? Because Brandy Broke's not gonna be living next to like very fancy apartments, isn't she? So I redid them all. I already put families inside, so we'll have to deal with them. These are two townies from Blue Water Village, and they both work in the bakery of the Jaquettes, Jador Bakery. So I just moved them into these flats. This is a 360. So you could also see a bit of my architectural style when it comes to houses. So these are all lots, and my issue with these ones, it's not an issue, I actually like it, but I made them so grungy on the inside that they all look like Soviet apartments. Um, but and even most of the pictures on Pinterest that I have used were actually from Soviet apartments. But they just look. I just like how they looked. Um, I'm just trying to show you the insides. Um, that's the other one, and then that's the one where they live. They're just friends. They just share. They're roommates. Um, I like their pink bathroom. And I like how the lighting mod that I use actually makes everything reflect. So then this looks pinker as well. And here's their back garden. And this is the back garden of the other ones. Let's move on to the next one. I think there's the two other apartments and then we're finished. And then you can carry on with your day. Um, the first time I uploaded a video and I had people that I watch videos of while I build my own games and I play and everything like that, say that they did the same with my videos. It made me so happy. So if you're building right now, if you're playing with your Sims and you just need something in the background, hi and thank you for watching me. It's actually such a dream to have people that I'm giving them company when normally they give me company. So it's very nice to give something back. So yeah, so here's a 360 of the other three apartments. And I love using this flooring as like outside cement, like a yeah, like that. Um, that's where Brandy Broke lives, which I think that is cool because she's next to a dumpster, and no hate of her. I actually like her as a character, but it just makes no sense. I just hated to have her to have like all of this area so close to like very fancy areas. It just didn't make sense to me. Not that I hate it personally, it just didn't make sense, city planning wise. So now it just makes more sense. Obviously, I will change it a bit, like the surroundings to make it match and fit more into the area. But I'm not gonna change the lot itself, like the building itself, because it has to make sense. It has to also resemble Pleasantview. Pleasantview has to stay Pleasantview. We have to keep the spirit of Pleasantview alive. Um, but yeah, here's the inside. Here we have Ivy Kapoor and Iris Kapoor. I changed her name because they have the same name. So yeah, they're mother and daughter. Uh, Here's their house. It's a very old house, obviously. You can see by the carpets and stuff, but I like that. Here you have the other one. I love when I do these. These, you would say, oh, that's custom content. No, that is this floor, but then if you do the thing where you make it into a small triangle, and then you swap it around, see? And you can create different designs. You can even do a little cross. You can do... See, there's so many things you can do with just the one floor. But yeah, here's the kitchen. This one is a bit more sort of like renovated. That's why it's all like gray and white. I hate this type of decoration, by the way. I personally despise it. But, you know, that's what people nowadays like. And not all the Sims are gonna have my aesthetic. Some Sims will have their own personalities and aesthetic, obviously. But yeah, and that's the upstairs of the other one. And that's the gardens. This one has like a little like room that goes into going outside. But yeah, let's move on to the very last one, and then we'll be done. And I will use this opportunity to show you, to tell you what I'm gonna do next, so then it doesn't extend super long. What we're gonna do is, after I finish showing you all of these, I'm gonna start giving the families makeovers, and I'm gonna give them like their storylines and fix their relationships and all of that. And actually, the ones who don't have furniture inside, I'm gonna start decorating them. And then I will do a video showing you all of that. And then once I finish all of that, I'm gonna move and do Strange Town, because Strange Town is a subhood in this. Once I finish Strange Town, I wanna do... I don't know if I wanna do the universities or Veronaville. But yeah, we'll talk about that later on a bit. But here's a 360 of these. Here you have the alleyway for like the rubbish and stuff. I love using this door, which is, you cannot see it right now because it's an apartment, but it's just a gate, and I just use it to create sort of like, you know, that. Anyway, so if we go in, here we have the inside. There's nothing, there's not even toilets in this one, and you use this to go out. This one looks like this. This one I started decorating a bit inside because I was like, oh, this I really like this house. It just gives me Christmas vibes. I don't know why. So I thought, yeah, let's do it. But yeah, so here we have a bit of a kitchen. I like using this painting as well. It's, where is it? Is it around here? I think it's one of the, yeah, it's one of the bricks one. But it reminds me of those glass window thingies that you find in builds in the 90s in Miami. I don't know why I think that's the case, but that's what it reminds me of. And I just thought it looked cool. And the upstairs, nothing massive too. There's nothing super crazy to these lots. They're just basic. But yeah. And yeah, that's it. And as I said, after this I'm gonna do what I told you I will do. And I genuinely cannot wait to actually start fucking playing. But before I play, and before I even touch the families in any sort of way, in terms of gameplay, I will give them makeovers, and I like to change their faces only slightly to make them look more realistic. They will still resemble who they are. But if you ever watch Big Mouth's Pleasantview stories, you would see that he changed the faces. I won't change them that much, because he made everyone look like Barbies, which it's cool and I like it for that. But for my gameplay, I like them to look more realistic and to resemble who they are as characters, so we will do that. And yeah, I will do all of that as I told you, and I genuinely cannot wait. And as I said, I have Strange Town as a subhood. Blue Water Village is empty, I might delete it soon, but all the town is from it. are already placed down, except these two. They're not townies really. They're like the being families from Blue Water Village. But yeah, um, thank you so much for being here after so many months. And I know, and I'm very sorry that my previous Pleasantview disappeared, my Verona build disappeared. My laptop has been having lots of issues, but here we are, stronger than ever, and I look forward to actually creating a neighborhood that I can put up for download and it's friendly for everyone in terms of CC. And I have seen so many people uploading sort of like Pleasantview 2.0 and stuff like that. And this is my take on it. So I hope you like it and have a good day. Take care. Bye.